then at least I died an Avenger.
Good evening. The time is 6:46. This is the Great Marvel Post-Mortem. I'm Joel Mack. With me is the wretched Wyatt Beard.
Hello, Joel.
Tell me a little bit about Spider-Man, because you know more than any man should about Spider-Man.
So we're here today to talk about the 1977? Yes, 1977.
I thought it was like 73, dude.
73? What?
I swear to God.
No.
But maybe I'm wrong.
No, the early 70s were a rough time for Marvel.
Tell me more.
They just didn't make any adaptations.
That does sound rough for them. No money.
Yeah, but The Amazing Spider-Man from 1977, TV series that aired in the States on CBS and didn't air anywhere else, I believe. However, some of the episodes were released as theatrical films internationally. In particular, the pilot episode, the two-parter that followed it, and the two-parter that ended the series.
I know that's about the end of it, because I don't think they even released it on DVD.
Never on DVD. There is actually a somewhat apocryphal story that the reason it has never been re-released is because Stan Lee suppressed it because he did not appreciate the show. No citations on that. That's just like a widely held rumor.
If I tear it off, we'll all be arrested.
No citations on most stuff that is early, I guess.
Mm-hmm. As mentioned, the show debuted on CBS. Is produced by Charles Victor Fries. I don't know how you pronounce that normally. I read it as Fries.
He worked in the fries industry,
right,
McDonald's and stuff.
Yeah, and co-produced by Dan Goodman, who is actually the individual that Stan Lee sold the rights to Spider-Man 2 in order to produce the show. And then he partnered with good old Charlie and Columbia Pictures Television, and the show we got is this one. Stars Nicholas Hammond as Peter Parker. He wears a suit sometimes, but generally he is not the one performing any of the stunts for the show. That is a different individual. His name is Frank Gaug. Gaug? How do you... I totally misremembered. It is not Frank Gaug. It is Fred Waug.
What happened?
Look, the 70s were a long time ago.
Gaug on the mind, brother.
I want to dial in on Fred Waug or Wog. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Because this
is
dude...
he dead? Because if not... You're offending him right now.
I know his son is alive and is a working director, but I don't know if Fred is still with us. No, he died in 2012, unfortunately. Very sad. Yeah, we have Nicholas Hammond as Peter Parker. Notably, in the first season only, we have Michael Pataki as Captain Barbera, Robert F. Simon as J. Jonah Jameson, Chip Fields as Rita Conway, and in the second season, we introduce Ellen Bry as Julie Masters.
Was she in the pilot film, or was that a different brunette woman?
It's a different brunette woman. The show has a few rather similar looking brunette women.
It doesn't have many familiar women, which we will get to.
No, yeah. The only familiar names and faces really are Peter Parker, J. Jonah Jameson, and very sparingly Aunt May.
In one episode, I think.
Two.
One episode,
maybe
in
one
the
that
pilot
you watched.
film.
Yeah.
And we also had Robbie in the first pilot episode, and nothing else.
Yeah, Robbie Robertson pops in, says hello, pops back out.
Played by a white guy.
Yeah. But yeah, so back to Fred Wog for a second. So he was the second unit director and the stunt performer for Spider-Man. And you watched enough of this show, Joel. I watched every episode, but you had a little more of a truncated viewing experience. You watched enough to probably appreciate how fucking insane the stunt work on this series is.
Oh, yeah, it's shocking.
He's actually like climbing up the side of like real buildings and swinging between actual buildings. And they built this insane like prototype GoPro baseball helmet with a camera attached to it so that they could get first person POV shots of Spider-Man like walking along the ledge of a building or crawling up and down the side of the building or
The first person shots are so experimental. They're crazy.
they're like genuinely like kind of gut wrenching. Like
They come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
suddenly you're on the building, looking back. Spider-Man always looks back a little bit when he's climbing up the building.
Yeah, it's really nuts. One of the reasons that this show had such a short run, there are a few that we'll get into, but part of it was that these stunts were quite expensive to perform and to shoot.
I can imagine.
Right, and for that reason, they did do a lot of the filming of the stunts all at once, and reused some of that footage as well, frequently.
Do you know if that that motorcycle jump cross buildings was real or a set? Because I could not tell.
I don't know.
'Cause that was very Evel Knievel of them if they did it for real.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume it was a set. So speaking of the sets and the locations on this, so it does take place as the traditional Spider-Man story does in New York City. And it was filmed in New York a little.
Are you sure?
A little. They filmed a little. A lot of Fred's stunts.
I don't think I saw an inch of it.
No. There's like shots of Times Square and stuff in some of the episodes. Maybe you didn't catch them in the episodes that you watched, but like they did some shooting in New York, but only some. Most of it was shot in Los Angeles, very obviously for anyone who has an eye for scenery. And also Hong Kong. They did shoot in Hong Kong for.
Oh, good.
Yeah, for the end of the show, which is rad, I think. But yeah, crazy stunt work on this show. Like some of the fight choreography maybe leaves a little bit to be desired, but there's also some really great fights as well. In particular, I believe it is in the 2-part episode, The Deadly Dust, that follows the pilot movie, where Spider-Man fights like. I don't know what you call them. They're not quite ninjas. They're like 3 dudes in like robes.
That's in the pilot film, yeah. Yeah, they got big kendo sticks. And,
yeah. That fight rocks. Like it's really cool. Like there's like this tension as like Spider-Man and these 3 opponents are like navigating the space around each other. And the fights do involve him like playing with crawling on the ceiling and on the walls and doing actual like Spider-Man stuff.
I did. I swear I read somewhere that the director of that pilot movie said he wanted to bring in a real Asian stunt team to do those segments. I cannot find that piece of writing anywhere. I swear to God I read it, but maybe I'm a racist? Who knows? We'll find out after the Dragon's Challenge.
So yeah, part of the reason the show had a short run, as mentioned, it was kind of expensive to produce. The other reason is, as mentioned before, this was broadcast on CBS. At the time, CBS had revived the Wonder Woman TV series starring Linda Carter that had been canceled on ABC.
Competing businesses there.
Right. They were just about to get into series that we'll be covering soon,
maybe.
And what else? They were doing rebroadcasts of like all of the that we'll get into eventually.
Maybe.
Maybe. And they had just finished doing broadcasts of the Shazam ISIS Power Hour.
Excuse me.
Called? You know, you know that not the terrorist group.
They're called ISIL now, Wyatt. Please.
So CBS was nervous at the time of being considered like a one-note superhero network, which is ironic given that CBS was like a co-stake owner of the CW, and what would happen with that network?
You mean the superhero network?
Yeah. So there you go. So expensive show, and they didn't want to be the superhero network, so they canned this after 13/14 episodes. And I think that's a damn shame, because this show is quite a bit of fun, in my opinion.
It's a lot more fun than what came before it, years before it, the Captain America serial, which
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about quite a lot because that pilot film has the same plot as the first
Yes.
episode of Captain
The
America
very first
serial.
note. The very first note I wrote was Return of the Purple Death for the pilot. Yeah, so both this and the 1940s Captain America serial begin with the a villain who is using mind control to make people kill themselves.
It's apparently a staple of Marvel. Is
yeah.
coerced suicide.
I can confirm that the Incredible Hulk series does not get into that plot
Yet.
immediately. I do have a couple notes for each of the episodes. I do want to mention that a little bit about like the dynamic of the show. So we mentioned that a lot of the supporting cast from Spider-Man comics are not present as they would typically be, and we have some new faces as well.
We're getting into changes already.
Yeah, you ready for it?
Yeah, I have my changes segment up and ready to go.
Do you want to lead on that one?
I can hit you with it.
Hit me with it.
All right. Changes, a lot of changes to the plot of Spider-Man. Number 1, we no longer have high school Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
We have weird nuclear power plant Peter Parker.
Well, he's in college.
Allegedly he's in college, but what he is in is the most dangerous room in America, apparently. It's just leaking radiation all over the place. And yeah, they're saying a lot about how if that beaker spills, they'll die, and they pick up the beaker with maybe the flimsiest robot arm I've ever seen and almost drop it 7 times. It's not a good lab in the slightest. The radioactive spider is still the same, but I guess the location of the spider changes. Bites him very casually too. He just sticks his hand to the side of a computer and he's bitten.
To briefly derail from the changes, there is actually something I went ahead and reread Amazing Fantasy 15 in preparation for this, the debut of Spider-Man, and there is one fascinating detail from the origin of Spider-Man from that original issue that they keep in this that I've never seen in any other adaptation of Spider-Man.
What could it be?
Immediately after Pete gets bitten by the spider, he's nearly run down by an automobile. And then he jumps out of the way and sticks to a wall, and that's how he finds out he has spider powers.
I loved that, actually. That was a really fun moment.
Yeah, and that's
trying to kill
pulled
him.
directly from the comic. Yeah, granted, it's like just a neglectful driver in the comic, not somebody actively trying to kill Peter, as is in this show.
We've alluded to there being barely any characters from the comics. No Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane, any of the typical love interests. Not even Betty Brant.
No Betty Brant.
But there's
that
sort of a
is kind
Betty
of
Brant
filled
stand-in.
by
Rita Conway.
Rita Conway. Mm-hmm.
A name I wrote down. I didn't remember it.
Rita Conway, yeah.
No Uncle Ben to tell him about responsibility. That's gone.
So you may have missed this because it might not have been in the curated episode list I sent you. In one of the episodes with Aunt May, she references his Uncle Max. So there's straight up no Uncle Ben. There is an Uncle Max who has died, presumably, but under unknown circumstances. Maybe he was one of the guys who was motivated into killing himself by mind control.
I figure it's the same Max from Narc. I figure he died trying to rid the streets of cocaine and dealers.
There you go, yeah.
Other than
What else you
that,
got?
the only character apart from Peter Parker that makes it to the screen is J. Jonah Jameson, and he likes Spider-Man. He doesn't seem to have any sort of beef with Spider-Man in this.
He's a little odd about it. He does, I think, have some antagonism towards Spider-Man, but I think he's a little more involved with running his newspaper. Like he's just a little too busy to be quite the Jameson from the comics. He is a hard ass. Like his personality's all there. He's just a little less enthused with Spider-Man than is traditionally portrayed.
He's willing to say stuff like Spider-Man saved that guy. Like, he's willing to give Spider-Man credit for stuff.
Yeah. I think that's an aspect of Jameson in the comics as well. Like, he has a open antagonism towards Spider-Man, but also a begrudging appreciation for him. Like the dude did like save his son in like the second or no, the first issue of The Amazing Spider-Man, I think.
I have no more changes, but one thing that is like a reverse change. Because it came in the TV show first. Spider-Man wears a weird utility belt and also has his web shooter as a big bracelet on his wrist.
Yeah.
Which was not a thing in the comics. They were tucked in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, during the Clone Saga, which I will mention later, maybe.
It's relevant.
Ben Reilly, of course, Scarlet Spider's costume does have that weird-ass belt and web shooter.
It was the 90s. We liked big belts. We liked pouches.
Yeah. Rob.
We liked Rob.
What a mistake.
You can think and draw at the same time? Yeah.
So I got a couple other notes here. In that pilot episode, I think it's a cool beat that Peter has to hitch a ride in the back of a garbage truck because he's unable to pay for a cab. I'm always a big fan of like Peter Parker is broke and struggling to get anything done. That's kind of like the one and only time we gesture at that aspect of the character.
Broke ass Peter Parker stuff. He seems to be doing quite well.
Yeah, he's mostly all right. We don't ever really see much of like his living situation.
He's got a small apartment,
yeah,
and he's got a little panel on the wall that pops out, and he just crams his suit in there, and it gets all wrinkled.
Yeah. So Night of the Clones, the 4th episode, yeah.
Maybe the prelude to the Clone Saga. I hope not.
So when you say the Clone Saga, you're talking about the infamous like 90s mess with Ben Reilly and all that. There is a original Clone Saga from the comics where the Clone Saga that is more well known like is like a thematic and textual sequel. In that story, I believe it is Miles Warren, the Jackal, has cloned Gwen Stacy and brought her back from the dead. Or is that the 90s Clone Saga? I don't know. In any case, a clone of Spider-Man.
Sounds like another mess, though.
Yeah, it's a mess, but it's a lot shorter. So it's a clone of Spider-Man is produced. The two of them fight. And one of them dies and is dropped down like the smokestack of an industrial warehouse and burned. And the premise then of the 90s Clone Saga is actually like, oh, well, what if the original Clone Saga, what if that clone that died, what if that was the real Peter? And the Peter that's been around all this time is a clone. Anyway, that story is from the 70s, and it does predate this Night of the Clones episode.
Damn.
Yeah.
Comics got in first then.
Got in first. But I don't think this episode is trying to gesture at that. I think it is just like, let's have Spider-Man fight Spider-Man, you know?
I mean, he barely does.
Barely.
That's right, Peter. I'm you, and you're me, and this is a gun.
All of the episodes end in like 4 minutes.
Yeah, they wrap up real fast.
The finale always genuinely starts at like the 43-minute mark. But he barely fights Spider-Man. They don't even really meet each other until that rooftop, and then he takes care of him instantly.
Mm-hmm.
I think Spider-Man falls off a building and dies, or crashes into something and dies.
Something like
It wasn't
that,
even
yeah.
Spider-Man that beat him. He beat himself. Yeah. But that episode does end with the coolest, not even a reference because it's before the Last Crusade, but guy turns old really fast, like in the Last Crusade.
Yeah, that's always a fun effect to watch.
Do you reckon Lucas was watching Spider-Man?
Oh yeah, I bet. He's a fucking dork, that guy.
He would have stole that. Stole everything he did.
No, that's Stan Lee you're thinking of.
Oh.
Not to get controversial. Yeah.
Turn your phone off while we're recording.
What's that?
You turn your phone off while
Oh,
we're
sorry.
recording.
Sorry, that was Stan Lee's ghost. It's really give me an earful for that comment. I want to mention, I know you said one per season, but the Con Caper. It's a great episode because we get like some really good character work out of Rita, and I think that's like that's the episode where I'm like, I really appreciate this original supporting character on here. I'd like to see like more of her, and was sad that to recall that the show was so short-lived. I thought you were talking about the episode where Peter's in prison, because that is my favorite episode of the whole show.
That's your prison episode.
It's my prison. Everyone has one.
Mine is the con caper.
All right, go into it then.
With the Hellraiser dad, aka the killer from Dirty Harry.
Yeah, I guess when I said the guy from Hellraiser showed up, I should have been more specific. Pinhead is not in this show.
Pinhead's in it, dude. He jumps the motorcycle over the building.
Oh my god.
And he did it for pleasure.
Episode after the Kirkwood haunting is my favorite, photo finish. That is the one where Peter is put into jail and he somehow smuggled in his Spider-Man costume with him so that he could...
More like, did not finish.
Exactly.
Because I didn't finish that one.
Oh.
As far as I'm concerned, he's still in jail.
Oh no. We do get to see... we do get to see a key Jameson trait on this one. Not the whiskey, but the man. He has a good moment where he really puts up like a strong defense of Peter to against the police, you know, of all things.
Yeah.
Like really backs Peter, is really in his court, and I really like when that happens. In the Sam Raimi film, there's that moment where the Goblin literally has fucking Jameson by the throat, and he's like, "Who takes your pictures of Spider-Man?" And Jameson's like, "I don't know. They come in the mail." And that's great. Like
Green Goblin smoked 5 cigars a day, dude.
But I love that so much that like he has such like a hate boner for Spider-Man, but like any of his staff, he's willing to like throw his life down for them, and that's I think a really interesting contradiction in that guy. The other major supporting character in season 2 that we haven't even addressed yet is the character of Julie Masters, who is a journalist for a competing newspaper to the Bugle.
Yeah, I did not see much of her.
Yeah, and she's not much. Like, she's really just there to, like, very boringly be a will they, won't they with Peter. Like,
I feel like there were 2 love interests. Of course, I'm referring to Julie Masters and Jameson, the man, not the drink. But... this is the most like asexual Peter has ever been. I don't even think he was thinking about it, let alone mentioning it.
I mean, like there's a few, there's a handful of women that he has like chemistry with, and they do. If you didn't finish photo finish, he like they do like almost kiss. Like she visits him in jail. You know, you probably got
but
to that part.
Does he finish?
He photo finish. But she's just like. I don't know, like they do have a little bit of chemistry, but they don't have any like kind of dynamic, I guess. Like it's always like she has the lead on a story or he has a lead on the story, and then they're like bugging each other for details on the story. There's like one episode where she like gets to have any kind of like active involvement in the plot, and that might have been photo finish. I think I missed putting down my note, but yeah, like she's just really nothing. We should mention also I think I did mention it actually, but her character effectively replaces Captain Barbera as like the 4th main character.
I heard he disappeared.
And it is a gainful replacement. Like Captain Barbera is even more of a nothing character than Julie Masters, but
easy come, easy go.
Yeah. She's no Betty Brant, she's no Gwen Stacy, she's no Mary Jane, she's not even a Rita Conway. Like I genuinely, there were moments where I felt like there were more sparks between Rita and Peter than Peter and Julie.
They spend their whole time flirting.
Yeah, and she like maybe knows he's Spider-Man also. There's an episode where she gestures at that. Peter says something along the lines of like, you know, don't ask me questions that you don't want the answer to. And she's like, yeah, I there are some things I bet I could ask you about. Wink, wink.
I figured you meant when he goes to the costume ball dressed as Spider-Man.
That too.
Like a idiot.
Yeah. No, that's
Because
smart.
He's dressed up
good.
as Errol Flynn before that, which
Yeah, Aunt May sewed him a costume. Cute.
it's the old equivalent of going to a Halloween party dressed as a Nazi, I guess.
No, come on. Everybody loved Errol Flynn back in the day. That's
he's a Nazi though.
I don't think they knew that at the time, right?
They knew that during the Nazi time.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But he rips his pants like a dumbass.
What else you got, Joel?
I've got fun facts if you want to do fun facts.
Let's do it. I love fun facts.
All right. Fun facts, as always, is presented by a shirt sound. Wyatt has to guess where the fuck that sound happens in the media. Here is your sound.
I'm ready. I'm locked in. Oh, shit. Let me get that one more time. Uh-huh.
I told you it was a hard one this week.
I'm gonna use my deductive reasoning because I'm the one who gave you the list of episodes to watch, so I know which ones it probably was from. Is that from the Con Caper?
No, it's from the pilot. I'll give you that.
Pilot? Okay. Is it the villain when he I don't know, Joel. You got me this time.
It is when Spider-Man fights the three men with kendo sticks.
Oh yeah.
One of them rounds a corner and famously says,
I must have missed it. I guess I didn't hear that.
All right, fun facts as I wrote down this week because I can't spell. Fun facts. Nicholas Hammond, his first role ever was in a show called The Defenders. Nothing to do with Marvel's The Defenders, but fun coincidence, right?
I thought you were going a different way with it. I thought you were going to say he played Friedrich von Trapp in The Sound of Music.
I mean, that's also a fun fact, but that's nothing to do with me.
Yeah. What else you got? Any more fun facts?
Yeah, I didn't just come with one fun fact. What do you take me for?
Well, you came with fun fact or whatever you wrote down.
That's my fun fact. Anyway, on to my fun facts. Stan Lee, Spider-Man's co-creator. I'm reading this verbatim, by the way.
Alleged co-creator. Go off.
Disliked the show and was vocal about his dissatisfaction with it. He had stated in interviews that he felt the series was too juvenile and that the Spider-Man character was a cardboard character. Do you agree? I don't think it's juvenile.
No.
I think that shit's fucking, I don't know, adult,
well,
but
like,
not sexually.
Yeah, like another alleged reason the show was canceled is that it like underperformed for like the 18 and up demographic and was really popular with kids. And like, I get that. Like he's in a colorful costume. It's literally Spider-Man. Like kids love Spider-Man.
I just think it's ironic for Stan Lee, of all people, to say anyone is a cardboard character when he made all the cardboard characters.
Yeah.
According to Stan Lee, he made them.
Well, and it's funny too because like something the showrunners of this like were very specific about is like the reason there's not supervillains is because they didn't want it to be as juvenile.
Yeah, there's not a single costumed villain. It's all dudes in suits.
I can't help but feel that Stan would say that he didn't like things that weren't successful and would say he did like things that were,
Are you suggesting Stan Lee might not have integrity?
Or that he might not be honest about his feelings? Yeah.
Maybe a bit of both.
Maybe a bit of both. Who can say?
I have one more fun fact. Are you excited?
Yes.
Actually, no, I don't, because my last fun fact is about how there's not many comic book villains, and we just did that. You took it from me. Give me another fact in return. It's barely even facts.
In episode 4, The Curse of Rava, where Spider-Man fights a telekinetic guy from the fictional nation of Khalistan, I think.
That's all you need. That's my fun fact.
The same month that aired, Wonder Woman also fought a telekinetic supervillain in a 1977 episode of her show. Sorry, correction. This was not the same month. It was just the same... Not even the same year. It just Wonder Woman also fought a telekinetic guy, apparently, according to this magazine article. Cool.
I could tell him a lot about the comic book characters that are similar to each other.
Do you like the suit in this show?
Yes, right. The eyes are a bit weird.
The eyes are a little weird, but I
suit's
think I
alright.
really like it. I think he looks fun.
I'll always like when they dedicate themselves to just going quirky with the suit, because I think superhero properties need to realize they're not that cool because they're about superheroes, so they should just make the costumes look silly. I thought it was really weird that the mask is like built into the shoulders and you have to pull the whole thing over your head and down to your chest. That was a weird design.
Yeah. I guess this show would also be the earliest like tradition of the face shell for underneath the mask to like give it that Spider-Man shape. You ever see somebody who's like doing like bad cosplay in a Spider-Man suit and you can like see
Like a morph suit.
you can like see the outline of their lips under the mask,
Yeah.
and it's really upsetting.
I see that a lot with Deadpool. Comic cons, because there's always 1,700 of them and none of them look good.
Yeah, it's not a very good face shell because it looks like it's more like a face plate, and you can see kind of where the edge of it is. But they at least like considered that enough to do that. Yeah. So did we love this or did we hate this, Joel?
Well, instead of love or hate, I figure we put it onto the tier list.
Oh, the tier list. Yeah. Are we collaborating on this? Are we collaborating on this list? We should have talked about this.
Yeah, it's a shared tier list
Okay.
because we're part of a hive mind.
Exactly. I'm feeling B tier.
I'm feeling B tier too. I told you we're a hive mind.
Beautiful. Oh, was it successful? That's something that we like to talk about, huh? I'm reading.
We
from our
already
document,
kind of
isn't it
talked
nice?
about it. The answer is not really, because it was cancelled after 14 episodes, but...
It had viewers, though. Like, people were into this, but it was really just, like, too expensive, not hitting with the right demographic, and trying to avoid the, like, comic book prejudice.
It did alright, I guess. But not really.
Did
But
okay.
it did alright.
And has never been re-released in high-quality format.
The sign of a good show.
How do we end this show?
We don't have an ending.
Oh, God.
Just kind of drifts off.
Like all comic book stuff, yeah, it just keeps going.
The writers get fired, they bring in new writers, and we're different next episode. That's how it goes. Bye.
Bye.